Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we are finally able to take a look at a knife that I've been trying to get my hands on now for quite a while. If my memory serves me right, these were floating around late last year, I believe. Wasn't able to get my hands on one of those runs, but I was able to finally get my hands on the latest run. And what we're talking about here is a new company, and this is a pretty interesting one. Let's open this up and take a look at it. This is not the first time for me unboxing it, but I wanted to show you guys the true unboxing experience here because they do a fun job over at Pyrotech of making things look and feel premium. So we got our box here. We have a card, Pyrotech, set a sail, flip it over, and you have all the information on this knife here. We are talking about the Pyrotech Kraken with an S90V blade. And if you look down here, HRC, they show that for each blade. That's nice. 62.1, you know, you take that for what it's worth. But I will say 61 to 62, or probably 60 to 62 is going to be your average HRC for most S90V on a lot of production blades out there. Not all of them, but I would safe to say vast majority are going to be 60 to 61, some at 62. This one happens to be a little on the higher side at 62, so that's nice. Assembled by Damon, and then you guys may have known Damon. He's from Kaiser originally. Kay and Damon have formed Pyrotech, and I think they're doing a pretty darn good job based off what I've seen in here. This one was assembled on 2/26 of 2024, and let's dive into this because you have a pretty nice pouch. This isn't like real leather, but it's a good looking pouch. You do get an extra set of springs and hardware there, and you get a really nice cloth, Pyrotech embossed cloth, and then just paper. So let's get all that stuff back in here, and let's take a look at this Kraken right here. Really, really nice looking knife with very, very, very nice crossbar action. We'll take a deeper look at that here in just a second, but let's clear the table so we don't have anything else playing with what my camera, or what really my phone camera, wants to focus on. Get that out of the way, and there she blows, the Pyrotech Kraken. Now, before we get any deeper into this review, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 7.63 inches, a blade length of 3.22 inches, and a blade thickness at 110 thousandths. Blade material is, as I already noted here, S90V. We have a flat grind with a handle length coming in at 4.41 inches. Titanium scales, which very, very interesting here. If you notice something, there's one thing you don't see anything of on the outside, and that's screws. We'll get to that here in just a second. We have a crossbar lock for the locking mechanism, and I will say it works extremely stinking well. User of a right or left hand tip up carry, but how do you ever change the clip? Well, give me a second, I will show you. We have a weight coming in at 4.16 ounces. A price, little on the heftier side, $300 for this knife. So this is not a budget knife, but I will say, there is somewhat of a very unique premium feel to this action and the knife in general. I'm pulling a couple vibes on this knife that we'll talk more about here in just a second. But I also have a code to not necessarily save on the knife itself, but to get free shipping. You can use the code WSWFS for free shipping if you want to pick up a Pyrotech Kraken. Now let's take a look at some size comparisons here and see just how well it compares to other knives that are like this. And I have two perfect size comparisons already picked out. I came prepared today. Here's the Hogue Deca, and I believe it's, oh wow, okay, so it's still just a hair longer than the Hogue Deca, but not by much. And then we also have the Kershaw Iridium, and I think this should do it for pretty much everybody. As you can see, it really is right there with the Deca and the Iridium, but it is truly right in the middle because it is just a little longer than the Deca and slightly shorter than the Iridium. But there you go. Nice comparison between these knives. Quality materials, great crossbar lock action, good looking knives in general all around. But the Kraken does come with a little more of a premium feel. Even compared to the Deca, I will say the Deca has a great feel on it. It's one of the better US production made knives out there. But this Kraken has a really, really satisfying action. But before we get into the action, let's talk about the blade here, because I am loving this blade. Kind of a reverse Tonto or modified sheep's foot. Yeah, we'll go with modified sheep's foot. It could be a couple things. You guys tell me if you think it's something else. But regardless of what it is by term, what it is 100%, in my opinion, is a very good looking blade. Got the nice satin finish there. Excellent thumb studs here, and a lot of jimping. Lots of jimping. All the jimping you need, really. You got enough jimping to use the index up here for draw cuts. You have enough jimping for your thumb, for any placement on your thumb, and it works really well, too. This is good, tacky, grippy jimping. This is what jimping should be. So it works very well. Nice tip up there. A nice kind of a stout tip, but still a rather slicey edge coming in right around 20 thousandths. I don't think you're going to have any issues for this for any general EDC carry. It is a great blade from an aesthetic standpoint as well as a functionality standpoint. And that is pretty much the blade all pulled together by that nice little subtle swedge up there. The swedge could actually, in my opinion, the swedge could be just a little deeper into the top of the blade up here. And I think I would like that even more. But as is, still looks pretty darn good. Now the handle. When you look at this handle and just kind of how everything is set up along with the presentation that we got here, there's no denying you definitely get some Chris Reeve vibes here. 100%. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that anything was directly taken from Chris Reeves, because this could not be anything farther from a real Chris Reeve knife. Yes, it's an all-tie handle, but there's no scales. There's no scales. There are scales. There's no screws, at least none that you can see. And that's what makes this handle super, super unique. But first off, you have this really, really nice engraved kind of like octopus or squid up there, and you have that on the other side, which is really cool. Gives it a nice little touch there. Ergonomically, it works great, at least for my hand. I don't have any issues. I will say the clip's a little predominant. You definitely feel the clip, but being flat and milled and everything that a clip like this should be if it's going to stick out that much, it doesn't feel that bad at all. You feel it, but it doesn't poke you. It doesn't prod you. So yeah, I don't have any real big issues with that. Now, taking this sucker apart, how do you do that? So, magnets. Magnets are the name of the game here. And I gotta say, I was very skeptical when I heard that magnets were holding these scales on. I was very worried about that. But I was proven wrong, and I'll show you why. So, what I like to do is actually take the scale off with the blade open. Yeah, I might be an idiot, but it just works better for me. Because you can use the blade to kind of push your finger in and help pull the scale off, because you have to take the show side scale off first. You cannot take the clip side off first, obviously, because the screw is holding this clip in. So you have the blade out, you kind of push your index finger up against the blade, and you just pretty easily, I will say the magnets are strong, but pretty easily just pull the scale off. And there you go. You have 4 magnets holding this thing in place, as well as the screw holes up here, the screws that are actually holding the liners together. There's also holes milled in there for a little extra secure placement. And then you also have a little filler tab here at the bottom that you can pull out if you do want to switch the clip around. And then to take off the other scale, you simply take off that one screw right there, which is holding this clip in, and then you can just pull off the clip side, and you're good. So very, very easy, innovative disassembly. I really, really like that with this. And what I'm really shocked on, one, you pop it on. First of all, the fitting of these scales is amazing because there's no wiggle. Like, there is no wiggle. There is no rattle. Everything about this knife is so, so solid. I thought for sure there was going to be a little bit of a noticeable wiggle on the scales, and there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So because they did that so well, like I have no complaints with the engineering behind this knife. I thought it had a potential for disaster, and I'm sure they went through multiple prototypes, but what they came up with was an excellent build that's also going to have the options to really easily mod these scales, whether you want to do some textural milling on it or anodization to it. It's going to be really easy and really fun, and it's so nice to take a knife apart with no issues, and this could not be any easier to take apart. I love the way this disassembles. Wouldn't mind seeing more knives like that, actually. I kind of hope Pyrotech sticks to that theme because I think it'll serve them very, very well. And lastly, the action. Oh, this is some of the better crossbar lock action I've ever come across. And I don't know, I don't think the magnets have anything to do with it, but it just has an extra solid, satisfying thwack that is so good and so smooth, ridiculously smooth. This is just such a joy to deploy and use and carry. I really couldn't be happier with this. I was a little questionable of the $300 price tag at first by just looking at it, but getting this thing in hand, when it comes to a knife of $300, any knife of $300, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's Pyrotech or Jack Wolf Knives or a Spyderco or a ZT or anything, the true acceptance and value of a knife is in the eye of the beholder, and I'm really having trouble finding a lot of reasons to not be okay with $300 here. Premium materials, innovative engineering, solid build, great looking knife, excellent presentation. It checks a lot of boxes. It checks just about all the boxes I can think of. So, so you take the price for what it's worth. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one, guys. But I really enjoy this one, the Pyrotech Kraken. It is a darn good one, and one that I would recommend taking a look at, especially if you like different things, new things. Just so clean with none of those screws being visible. It looks really good, and the stability of everything. It's a winner. It's a winner. I never thought a knife being held together by magnets on the scales would work that well, and it works amazingly well. The Pyrotech Kraken, guys, let me know what you think of this. It sure is cracking. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.